Welcome to this explainer. Right off the bat, we're diving into something truly wild. We're investigating a verified, documented timeline that connects a massive 2003 archaeological discovery in Iraq straight to the sudden outbreak of war. This isn't just ancient history we're talking about. It involves global geopolitics, vanishing artifacts, and secrets that could literally challenge our fundamental understanding of human civilization.
Just before the conflict kicked off, a German archaeological team found something beneath the sands of Uruk, something that honestly was never supposed to be found, a 4,700-year-old grave. And it wasn't just any burial site. The absolute craziest part? Unearthing it coincided almost perfectly with the mobilization of military forces.
Now, I want to be clear, this is not some fringe internet theory. This is a verified historical record. In early 2003, ground-penetrating radar detects these massive underground chambers. Just weeks later, archaeologists publicly announced they found a legendary tomb. And then, almost immediately, the war begins and the entire excavation site is completely locked down. The potential discovery of King Gilgamesh's tomb was instantly silenced by the deafening noise of military action.
Section 1. The Legend of Gilgamesh.
So, to understand why a military lockdown happens so fast, we have to look back at the ancient texts themselves. For centuries, the Epic of Gilgamesh was studied as just a beautiful ancient fairy tale. Originating around 2700 BC, it's literally the oldest written story in human history. It describes this king of Uruk, who was supposedly two-thirds god and one-third man. Up until very recently, mainstream academia viewed him purely as a myth.
But get this, according to these ancient clay tablets, Gilgamesh ruled for an astonishing 126 years. The texts claim he built city walls that were so massive and mathematically precise that ancient peoples actually believed no mortal hand could have possibly designed them. But again, these were largely considered stories, right? Just bedtime stories parents told their kids, right up until the early 2000s.
Section 2. The Tomb Beneath Uruk. Well, that whole "it's just a myth" perspective shifted dramatically when modern tech finally met ancient lore. Using ground-penetrating radar, that German archaeological team I mentioned detected a massive, deliberate, and totally sealed underground chamber system out in the Iraqi floodplains. And here's the kicker. The layout and location of these structures perfectly match the ancient text's exact description of King Gilgamesh's burial site.
The evidence was so incredibly compelling that the lead archaeologist, Jörg Fassbinder, actually went public with this stunning, albeit cautious statement. He simply said, "We found the tomb." This declaration literally sent shockwaves through the academic world. But before the shovels could even hit the dirt to verify what the radar saw, the site was suddenly locked down as the invasion of Iraq began. Just like that, the greatest archaeological headline of the century disappeared overnight.
Section 3. The Secret of Immortality. Okay, so why would powerful entities or governments even care about an ancient grave? Well, scholars point out that the epic contains details that make certain theologians and analysts deeply uncomfortable. For one, it features a highly detailed flood narrative. We're talking a worn survivor, a massive vessel, a sacrifice, the whole shebang. And this Mesopotamian story predates the biblical account of Noah by over 1,000 years. It strongly suggests a shared, or maybe far older origin for our most foundational human narratives.
But if we look beyond the flood, the text focuses on something much more personal and honestly primal. It details Gilgamesh's terrifying, all-consuming obsession with defeating death. According to the epic, after watching his absolute closest companion, Enkidu, die in agony, Gilgamesh became entirely consumed by a single question: is there a way to live forever?
The story outlines this desperate journey. Gilgamesh travels to the literal edge of the known world, descends into darkness, and actually finds Utnapishtim, the immortal flood survivor. He was supposedly handed a secret formula or plant for eternal life, only to have it stolen by a serpent while he was sleeping. Now, that's the surface-level myth, right? However, researchers who study this deeply theorize that Gilgamesh didn't actually return empty-handed. They believe he brought back dangerous, sacred, pre-flood knowledge. So it wasn't just a physical plant. It was encoded knowledge about the world before the flood, and they think it was buried right there with him in his tomb. This is what powerful entities might actually be looking for.
Section 4. Missing artifacts and motives.
Now, this theory of suppressed ancient knowledge, it aligns disturbingly well with the chaotic aftermath of the invasion. Over 15,000 uncatalogued items mysteriously vanished from the Iraq Museum in Baghdad. We are talking about artifacts whose true historical significance was completely unknown to the general public, just swept away in the fog of war.
And the craziest part is, the pursuit of these artifacts didn't end back in 2003. Fast forward to 2017, and the U.S. Department of Justice seized thousands of illegally smuggled cuneiform tablets. These are the exact same type of clay tablets the Epic of Gilgamesh was written on, and they were purchased by an American billionaire for millions of dollars. You really have to wonder, why are the wealthiest people on Earth spending absolute fortunes to smuggle ancient dirt and clay?
So what exactly are these high-powered collectors looking for? Well, some researchers point to the Anunnaki. These were beings described in Sumerian texts who supposedly descended from the sky, giving humanity civilization, agriculture, and complex mathematics practically overnight. Even mainstream history struggles to explain how the Sumerian civilization just appeared, fully formed. The ancient texts simply say the knowledge was handed to them. It absolutely begs the question, what else is written on those unreleased tablets?
Section 5. The Oldest Locked Room.
All right, this brings us to some really profound, unsettling questions. But first, we absolutely must anchor ourselves to the documented facts. The 2003 radar scans in Uruk, they were real. The findings were published in peer-reviewed journals. The ancient tablets that accurately describe those underground chambers, they exist in museums today. And the illegal acquisition of Mesopotamian artifacts by billionaires is a proven fact in federal court. So this isn't just speculation, guys. This is the established foundation.
So, if this tomb beneath Uruk truly is the oldest royal burial in recorded history, and if it actually contains encoded text from before the flood, it forces us to ask a massive question. How old is human civilization really? Are we looking at a timeline of humanity that is thousands of years older and far more advanced than our textbooks claim? Is it possible that sacred knowledge regarding human biology, human consciousness, and the very origins of life itself remains deliberately suppressed beneath the sands of Iraq? Because the desperate rush to secure the Uruk site and that subsequent black market scramble for Sumerian tablets, well, it strongly suggests that whatever is written in that clay holds immense power today.
And finally, I want you to ask yourself this. Is the tomb of King Gilgamesh really lost to history? Or is the truth just sealed away by the people who found it first? The past, it seems, isn't dead at all. It's just waiting beneath the sands. Thank you for joining me for this explainer. Keep questioning the timeline and keep seeking the truth.